Boys, how we doing today? We are going to go through every single Hockey Ultimate team that I've ever created in the NHL gaming series. My first time ever playing HUT was actually NHL 21, so I haven't been playing HUT all that long. I did play NHL back in the day before HUT existed. I think like NHL 12 was the last NHL game I played, and like NHL 03 was probably the first one. I got a few games in between there. Grew up playing hockey, so I was playing the games a lot as a kid. But back in the day, like, I was just playing with my friends doing, it's like split screen, not split screen, but we were playing on the same screen. And it was the whole thing where like one person had to play going down, and it was always really awkward. So the guy skating up always had the advantage. Anyways, so NHL 21 was my first HUT game. My squad was Ducks and Bolts, my two favorite teams. You can see like I played, what is that? 500, 600 games, and a lot of that was squad battles. I think I played like the first 2 months of playing Hockey Ultimate Team was just squad battles, because I played like a placement game or two and just got absolutely crushed and hated it. So eventually, obviously, I got better and I learned things, but I started with squad battles. Let's check out my squad. In NHL 21, it was not very good. It was not a good team. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did know that this guy, Mr. Guy Lafleur, was amazing in NHL 21. So here's my top line. I got the Fantasy Couturier, leveled him up a lot. I think this Matthews card was a free card that you got for just doing objectives, so he ended up being one of my best cards at the end of the year. I did pull this Fantasy Flashback card in NHL 23, and it was my, my #1 center in the very first ever Hockey Ultimate Team game I played, so I really kind of got a kick out of that, pulling that in NHL 23. One of my favorite pulls of the year, and it's an MSB. It was a 95 overall. At the time, it was a huge pull. Our second line, I don't even know who this is. Frank something. Frank Mavelich. If you're a Leafs fan, don't hate me. You can go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know how stupid I am for not knowing this guy. But his card art is literally black and white, so my apologies. I don't remember how I got him. I did make Mario and Wayne Gretzky. Those two cards in this game were phenomenal. In this game, it was like you had a bronze tier, a silver tier, and like the gold tier for these icon cards. I only had them on bronze tier. They were so expensive to me to level up because I was like, I think I was Div 5. I think the best I ever got was Div 4. And back in NHL 21, it was still 1 through 10 division. So, I wasn't a great player. I didn't get much rewards, so I was never able to really level up my cards a whole lot. But I had Guy Lafleur, Mario Lemieux, and Wayne Gretzky as my #1 line for like a lot of the year. My third line, I got this guy, Daryl Sutter. I'm not sure how I pulled him. I think I like made or bought a pack that had a guaranteed icon. I think that's how I got both of these two guys. My second and third line center. I made Teemu Selanne. Obviously, I'm a Ducks fan, so had to make him. I bought Palat just to fill some needs late in the year. Same thing with Panic. Probably he might have been a pull. I don't remember. Dylan Larkin was a pretty decent player when I first got him, I believe. Yeah, March 2nd. Maybe not. And then I remember pulling this David Pastrnak out of Rivals Rewards. And at the time that I pulled him, 93 overall was like the highest overall in the game. Like 93, 94s were like really high. It was my first like huge pull, and my first probably 90 plus pull. So I was really excited when I got him. But his skating wasn't all that great. I guess 98 Excel, 94, that's pretty darn good actually. But I don't know, he somehow made it down to the 4th line by the end of the year. On defense, looking back at this defense, it is like not very good. Definitely not meta. I don't even think I was going for a super meta team in NHL 21. I was just kind of using some of my favorite players. So I got Cam Fowler, Jamie Drysdale. Really, I was probably focusing a lot on speed because at least in NHL 21, the rushing was super easy. So I got scored on a lot, like rushes against. So I was really focused on speed when I was looking for a defenseman. This Rasmus Ristolainen card was my one big card I had. I got Owen Zellweger, Ducks prospect, Ryan Whitney with the Ducks card art. And then I remember buying this Tony DeAngelo just because he had decent speed at an affordable cost. And in nets, we had Anthony Stolarz, another one of my big pulls in NHL 21. I got him really late in the year. Let's see, yeah, August 11th. So I got him late in the year, but he was a 6'5" goalie who played on the goals and the Ducks. So it was a card that I really liked, a player that I liked. And David Riddick was in there, the backup just for synergies, I believe. So that's it. That's what my first ever HUT team looked like. It was not super great, but we had fun, you know. It is what it is. As you can see, Mario Lemieux led the squad in points and games played. I had him. He was the very first icon I made because he was the best card in the game. Well, him and LaFleur were both kind of really good meta cards in this game. Wayne Gretzky, those three guys are probably my favorite players from this game. Like I said, I used them together on my top line. They were like my one good line for a lot of the year. And it was super fun using all those cards. And now we're going to jump ahead to NHL 22. As you can see, we got the same squad, the Ducks and Bolts. A little bit more games played on this game with this team. My overall team was a lot better. I knew what I was doing in terms of team building a little bit more. I still wasn't a super great player. I actually think I preferred NHL 21 gameplay more than NHL 22, just because it fit my playstyle a little bit better, I think. Although looking back, with how good I am now and the things that I know how to do now, which is, you know, pretty much everything in the game, whereas my first year and a half, like I didn't even, it's kind of embarrassing. I didn't even realize that pushing down on the thumbstick, on the left stick, made your player go into that fast skate, that one-handed fast skate hustle thing. I literally didn't know that. So there's a lot of things that I had to learn in my first year and a half playing the Hockey Ultimate Team games. But here's the squad. Dylan Larkin was our top player. Let's check out our team. Okay, so as you can see right off the bat, this team is definitely a lot better than my team at NHL 21. So I remember my top line, I pulled this Mario Lemieux Team of the Week card out of some Rivals rewards. My first ever 99 pull, I believe. I had a few like kind of in a row. This was one of them. Pulled him August 3rd, so I got him really late in the year. But he was a fantastic card. Obviously, my number one line, my number one center. And then I made this Corey Perry card. This was an MSP card. Made him in May. 98 overall. Corey Perry, one of my favorite players of all time. Him and Getzlaf are probably, you know, tied for number one favorite player for me. I made a Team of the Season card in NHL 22. I was only able to make one. I had to get all my collectibles, and I believe it was a 1 of 2 choice pack. So. And I kind of lucked out with Matthew Tkachuk. I didn't even realize during this game when I made this that the Team of the Season cards auto like go up, like you don't have to upgrade them. So I pulled Tkachuk and he was like a 93, 95 overall or something, which was one of the higher overall. So I was like, okay, I guess that's a W, even though he was kind of slow. But then I realized like, oh, like these cards actually level up. And at 99 everything with his size and abilities, he's actually a really good pull for me. So he was on the top line. My second line, I bought this Ryan Getzlaf pretty late in the year to go with another 99 pull that I had that was super awesome because it was Trevor Zegras, one of my favorite players all time already. And then I made this Summer of Chell 99 Troy Terry. So again, in this game, like I was kind of more cognizant on like the meta play style, but I still went and made my favorite cards a little bit more than I did in NHL 23. My third line center, this Dylan Larkin card, I made way back in the Nations of Hockey event. So February 6th is when I got him. I believe, yeah, I didn't even get him all the way leveled up, but he was a great card for me. As you guys saw earlier, he was my leading point scorer just because he was kind of on the team for the longest period of time, probably. I pulled this 98 overall Ube Kubel card. At the time, I think he was the highest pull I ever got at 98 overall. But super fast, kind of small. This Liam Foudy, another good pull that I had. 97 overall, good, decent size, but 99 speed, 99 excel. He was solid for me. And then I had this X Factor Kucherov that I made pretty early in the year. And then I just kind of took my time leveling him up. Went with Palat, and then I believe this was the free Style Icons card that I chose from that event. My defense. This is where things got, you know, pretty good for this squad. I had this Tyler Myers card. I believe I made him with collectibles. And then I had Victor Hedman. I went out and made, early in the year, there was an MSP Hedman that I made, and I was able to trade that in for the Team of the Year version of Hedman. That was my one Team of the Year card that I had. One of my favorite cards in NHL 22 was this Team of the Year Hedman card. Just solid. One of my favorite players on the Lightning, which is, you know, my second favorite team. And he's a super meta, super good card in the game. So that was awesome. I also made this Chara card, which was just kind of an overpowered card. And they released it pretty early on in the year. I mean, I got him June 10th. I believe it came out like maybe a few weeks before that. So super meta card, 6'9". Almost everybody who was decent at the game had this card. And then I went with my boy Holzer. And my bottom pairing again, I needed a guy, a righty. I went out and got Tony DeAngelo because in this game as well, he was a good budget card. Maybe just because no one wanted to use him, I don't know. But decent speed, not great size, but decent speed. And I got him for really cheap. I don't remember, but it was cheap. And I don't even remember using this dude. This is a Hut Champs card. I guess I started playing Hut Champs like in the second half of the year for the first time ever in NHL 22. I got this guy August 10th. You know, I guess I just made him to fill a need. Let's see, how many games does he have played here? Wow, 176 games played. So I used him for quite a bit. I guess I just didn't remember him too much since he was on that bottom pairing. And in net, we had the other 99 pull that I had, Andre Vasilevsky. So I got the Lemieux, I got the Vasi, and I got the Zegras. A couple of my favorite cards, players on my favorite team, and frickin' Mario Lemieux. So some huge pulls. I got them all like within like 6 weeks. So it was like every other pack opening, I was getting a sick 99 overall pull. So that was awesome. I mean, geez, I got more 99 overall pulls in NHL 22 than I have in NHL 23. Which is kind of crazy to think about. I've definitely played NHL 23 a bit more. And that brings us into my squad right now. If you want a more in-depth look of my NHL 23 squad, I did make a video recently where I went over it, but I'll show it to you guys here as well. My very first squad that I started making this content with, so that's always going to have kind of a special little nostalgia spot for me, is the NHL 23 game. As you can see, my highest overall team at 94, I believe 22 was a 92. And then my record just shows like how much more I've played this game than NHL 22 or NHL 21. 866 wins. That's 1,200, 1,300 games played or whatever, maybe a little bit more. So here's the top line. 99 everything except for like 3 cards. Matt Sundin is one of those 98 overalls. Added Zegras recently. Got some team of the seasons, which I'm probably not going to go as hard on next year just because it didn't seem like it was worth it. So that's kind of one of those things you live and you learn. Got the newly acquired Hakanpää, Pronger, Hedman, Uwe, Krupp, some big boys in my top 4. Cale Makar, Cam Fowler. And in net, my 97 overall, Linus Ullmark. And that's the squad. And yeah, I'm really excited for what NHL 24 brings. I'm excited to build a new God Squad. I'm going to be doing a couple other theme teams on top of that as well for NHL 24. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. I'll see you in the next one.